Rutgers University announced this morning that they have fired Mike Rice. Tim Pernetti said this: "I am responsible for the decision to attempt a rehabilitation of Coach Rice. Dismissal and corrective action were debated in December, and I thought it was in the best interest of everyone to rehabilitate. But I was wrong. Moving forward, I will work to regain the trust of the Rutgers community." All right, Stephen A. Smith, we talked about this at the top of the show. You said that he should be fired. He has been fired. Is this enough, in your opinion?
No, it isn't. Not only should he be fired, but the athletic director, Tim Pernetti, should be suspended immediately and indefinitely, to be quite honest with you, because Rutgers needs to have a long conversation as to whether or not he should continue as athletic director. Clearly, he made a decision because it was politically expedient to do so. You know, he had an opportunity to address this. And by the way, when he made the decision to suspend Coach Mike Rice, who, by the way, let's take a moment and pause here. Can y'all please put up Mike Rice's picture? Let's know who this man is. The guy that wants to hit players, throw stuff in their face, and do all of that other stuff. We are quick to point out the transgressions of student athletes and professional athletes. Let's make sure that the world gets an opportunity to see who that man is. My heart goes out to his family, because I don't know whether he's married with children or not. I don't know his status, but I know that the family isn't guilty of doing such things. So my heart goes out to the suffering that they are, inevitably scheduled to incur because of his transgressions. But it is what it is, because this man should definitely be out of a job as head coach of Rutgers basketball, and it is apropos that he was fired. But when you talk about the athletic director, it was politically expedient for him to sit there and react this way once the video got out and was aired on Outside the Lines. But he knew about this months ago. A $50,000 fine, a 3-game suspension. At the very least, he should have been suspended for the rest of the season. We might not have even needed to see the video. All he had to come out and say, Skip, was, you know something? I am aware of his transgressions during practice. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. I deemed it unacceptable, and we will decide whether or not this man is going to ever have a job here at Rutgers University again. But for now, he is suspended indefinitely. You could have gotten away with that if you're Pernetti, but he didn't do that. As far as I'm concerned, he engaged in what I would describe as a cover-up. And in light of that reality, I think he should be suspended indefinitely. I'm not strong enough on it to say he should be fired too, but he should definitely be suspended, and we shouldn't know for how long. Let him sit there and suffer and wallow in his transgressions as well before his future's decided.
Stephen A., we actually have just been told we have sound of Mike Rice. He was speaking outside of his home this morning. So let's take a listen to what he had to say.
As I stated 3 months ago, after I watched the video, how deeply regrettable those actions. I also stated I was going to try to work on changing, and I think I've accomplished a lot of that. Can't say anything right now except I'm sorry. I've let so many people down. My players, my administration, Rutgers University, the fans, my family who's sitting in their house just huddled around because of the fact that their father was an embarrassment to them. And it's troubling, but I will, at some time, maybe I'll try to explain it, but right now there's no explanation for what's on those films, because there is no excuse for it. I was wrong.
Mike Rice admitting that he was wrong, saying he let so many people down and that he's sorry, seemingly choked up in that interview there. Stephen A., are you buying his response?
No, because as Skip pointed out earlier, it spanned years. It wasn't a one-time incident. This was your normal, everyday behavior as a coach. What's regrettable is that you got busted. That's what's regrettable. If it was a one-time incident, look, man, everybody makes mistakes. Forgive that man. You might have to lose your job because of it or whatever the case may be, but you come back, live another day. You make amends. This was his normal behavior. This is how he treated people. And I'm talking about his players. So I'm like, look, if this spin, like Skip, you pointed out, the video, and it wasn't of one practice. We heard Eric Murdoch talking. It wasn't of one incident. It was continuous. The fact that it was continuous says it's not a mistake. It's a decision. He decided that's how he wanted to act. And had he not gotten busted, it would have never been corrected. I'm done. No, please, please.
I'm with you. I have zero sympathy after watching that video of Mike Rice for Mike Rice. I have next to no sympathy for Tim Pernetti, the athletic director. And I want to return to your original point. You said you would like to see the athletic director suspended.
Yes.
I would too, because I've generally thought of Pernetti as a pretty class act. I didn't know that much about him. I just always liked him from a distance. Stephen A., help me out here. How do you suspend the leader of your athletic department as you're moving in next year to the Big Ten Conference? How do you suspend him for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, and then bring him back as the leader of your department? You can't, because once you suspend him, he's lost too much credibility. He's lost too much clout. It's like you can't suspend the big guy. He can suspend others, but once you suspend him, he's lost too much respect within the department, Stephen A. I wish you were right. I would like to see him only suspended. I think he has to go also. Now that the New Jersey governor has jumped on and is driving the bandwagon, and LeBron James has tweeted so strongly about it. Ray Allen has spoken out against it. We're all speaking out against it. And effectively, it started with the AD covering up, effectively covering up or covering for the coach who was his first big hire at Rutgers. Stephen A., you can't dismiss this as a first offense. It went on, as we talked, it's a 3-year offense. That's no longer a one-time deal.
You're right, Skip.
It's a multi-time deal. And it was so over the line so often, both physically and verbally, that to just say, oh, he's suspended for 3 games. My coach is gone for 3 games, and he's going to anger management. It's going to cost you $50,000. It's not nearly enough because you covered up what was really going on behind closed doors. We couldn't see the tape. If we'd seen the tape back in December, we would have all said, what are you doing? You have to fire this man. It went on too long. So I fear that, unfortunately, the AD is attached at the hip with the head coach that he overly defended. Even yesterday on Outside the Lines, he was still trying to hang in and defend him. Then he went on a couple hours later on The Fan in New York, and he began to back off. And then the nighttime passed, and all of a sudden this morning, no, he's fired. Well, the next shoe to drop in the Rutgers athletic department has to be the top guy.
Skip, I guess I'm of the mindset that I didn't want anybody to suffer as much as the coach.
I agree.
I think the fate the coach suffers should be the biggest fate, the most rather. But you're right, Skip. I stand corrected. You're right. I don't. You put it that way. How do you lead a program after this if you're Pernetti? You can't. Not after this. You don't have any cachet. You don't have any credibility after this because you tried to cover it up because it was your first big hire. You're right. And could y'all do me a favor, please, Kerry? Can you show me the quote, the tweet from LeBron James? I heard about it,
sure,
but I did not see it specifically. So could you please refresh my memory on that?
Yeah, we'll pull it up in just a few moments.
There's no question. Skip, you're right. You're right. They both got to go, Skip. They both have to go.
Again, frame it, Stephen A., with the fact that Rutgers is going to provide the Midwestern-based Big Ten Conference with its first ever Big Apple connection going into next year. That's right. The great thing about having Rutgers in the Big Ten is the New York media. Stephen A. Smith on 98.7 in New York City FM is going to be talking Rutgers in the Big Ten. When Ohio State and Michigan play Rutgers, you're going to be talking about it. And the leader of the program did this. I'm sorry.
You're right. They both have to go. You're right. You're right.
All right,
They both have to go.
let's pull up this tweet that LeBron put out last night, you guys. Can you put it on the big screen for us? If my son played for Rutgers or a coach like that, he would have some real explaining to do, and I'm still going whoop on him afterwards. Exclamation, come on.
Oof. And I think it's important. You know, LeBron James was very PG. It rated in his language.
Yep, sure.
We all know what he's trying to say here. Let's call it what it is. If my son plays for Rutgers and I see that video, I'm trying to tell y'all right now, I'm rolling up on Rutgers, and I'm gonna put my hands on that coach. I'm just trying to tell you.
Stephen, you're not the only one who feels that way. You've heard many people say that same exact sentiment. It's hard to understand why someone would be so violent towards someone else's child.
Yeah.
Again, just to recap for us, Mike Rice is fired. Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless both agree Pernetti should go next. Only time will tell, guys. Let's switch, a hard switch here. I'm having a little fun with this. 10